Penn State Berks is improving the lives of others, starting here in our community.
Whether it's working with local hospitals to promote health and nutrition in our region, or providing students with access to programs like engineering and an accelerated business degree. On campus and in the city of Reading, ideas become reality with help from our entrepreneurship facilities and resources.
As dedicated partners in our region's success, we're contributing more than $97 million annually to the Pennsylvania economy.
Our researchers are on the front lines of Pennsylvania's fight against spotted lanternflies, developing new ways to control and prevent these invasive insects.
And our impact keeps growing. Students, faculty, staff, and community members, backed by the strength of 24 campuses and 700,000 alumni.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streamed, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free, in the home of the brave?
Ife, thank you so much for that beautiful rendition of the national anthem. It is so good to see you. Welcome, first-year students, to Penn State Berks. I'm Jessica Schocker. I'm chair of the Faculty Senate here and associate professor of social education and women's studies. It is truly my pleasure to welcome you to Berks and to speak on behalf of my faculty colleagues. Today, I want to assure you that we are here for you, even though we cannot be together in the ways we wish we could. I know that we all wish we were in the before times when we could shake hands, exchange books, or put our heads together to go over feedback on a paper. Until that day is upon us again, I'd like to draw upon my experience as a professor in the humanities and social sciences and borrow some language from my friend, Dr. Jody Eichler-Levine, Associate Professor of Religion Studies at Lehigh University. For my entire career, I've taught students to work toward understanding what it means to be human. We need to hold on to and explore our humanity more than anything else right now. So even through the pixels of our screens, please know that our care and regard for you as human beings living through a traumatic time is paramount. If the humanities and social sciences teach us anything, it is that we are all connected. And I assure you that your professors in all three of our academic divisions are here for you. We recognize your humanity, and we will work hard every day to enlighten and educate you. We are glad you're here, and we are ready to support you. And now it's my great pleasure to introduce Dr. Janelle Larson, Interim Associate Dean for Academic Affairs.
Well, good afternoon, new Penn State students. I'm very excited to be here today to welcome you to Penn State Berks. I'm not sure if you can tell, but I'm actually in the Gage building. It's right over my shoulder is our front plaza. So I'm glad to welcome you to the next stage of your intellectual life. We would have certainly preferred to welcome you in person, but we are so glad that you're here, and we're committed to ensuring that you will still have the opportunity to learn and grow while you stay safe. You're having an atypical start to your time here at Penn State Berks, but I encourage you to go ahead and make the most of it. I urge you to open your mind and move out of your comfort zone, both academically and socially, while staying safe, to take time and learn from your professors and your classmates. They're going to come here with different backgrounds and different perspectives. Take advantage of all of our opportunities that are waiting for you here. Participate in undergraduate research. Once things settle down a bit, do a study abroad. Take on some mentoring or tutoring and have lots of socially distanced discussions with your classmates and friends. To make the most of your time here, I encourage you to have some humility, to question some assumptions, not just your instructors, but also your own, and really listen to those around you. We seek to provide you an environment for inquiry, creativity, and discovery, where we're all going to journey together as learners. And we look forward to traveling with you in the next several years. So stay safe as you dive into this next stage of your learning adventure. I'd now like to introduce Mr. Mike Shott, who's our Sga President here at Berks.
Hello, everybody. On behalf of the Student Government Association at Berks, or SGA for short, I'd like to say welcome. We hope that whether you're gonna stay at Berks for all 4 years of your education, or you're just gonna be here for a 2+2 up to University Park, we hope that you'll really feel the warmth and the closeness that we have here at Berks. I wanna commend you personally for your commitment to your education, because these are hard times right now, as I'm sure it's on everybody's minds, you know, this pandemic and everything that we're going through as a result. You know, it's not easy to be in this environment. And I want to acknowledge that first and foremost and commend all of you for taking that first step in your higher education journey. We've been working really hard this past summer as a SGA to make sure that the transition to this new virtual environment is as smooth and seamless as possible. But we're really, you know, we know that despite as many helpful staff and faculty and students that we've had on our side, we know that we may have missed some areas. So we're really going to rely on your feedback as students, especially first-year students, to help us create the type of campus that we want, where everyone feels included and everyone feels like they're a part of the discussion and the decisions being made that affect their daily lives. That's a huge mission for us as an SGA, is to make sure that you students feel a sense of ownership in the organizations and in the campus that you're a part of, in the community. So we recognize that there's going to be a lot of challenges, but we want to definitely emphasize the new opportunities that are arising as a result of our new conditions. The fact that we're able to link up on this virtual interface with hundreds of people in attendance right now, it's a beautiful thing. And this is the type of ideas that we need to keep running with, because this virtual environment provides us with so many opportunities, and it's time for us to get creative. So I just want to say, on behalf of myself and SGA, that once again, we are committed to make sure that your experience at Penn State Berks is incredible, and that your journey and your time here provides you with an education and experiences for life that can stay with you forever. So at this time, I'd like to introduce Dr. Keith Hillkirk, Chancellor of Berks campus.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks for your leadership as well. Well, it's my pleasure to welcome the class of 2024 to Penn State Berks, and also to tell you that you're joining a great campus of a great university, and we're delighted to welcome you to this beautiful, beautiful campus. Of course, as we all know, this isn't business as usual because of the pandemic, but our faculty and staff are here to support and teach you as you learn and work your way toward becoming a Penn State graduate. You'll be joining an alumni network of hundreds of thousands of people that stretches across the country and around the world. Now, you have all heard the "we are" that has become the trademark of Penn State. But what does "we are" mean during a pandemic? Well, "we are" is in many ways the theme of today's convocation. When we say "we are" during a time like this, I think it means that it's an opportunity for us to demonstrate that we care about and for one another, and we protect one another. Each of you has signed a compact, a commitment to do what each of us can do to remain healthy and to protect the health of fellow students, faculty, and staff. One of the 6 Penn State values is community. You have now joined the Penn State Berks community, and you are now asked to live "we are" by wearing a mask to protect the people around you, to maintain social distancing in class and in the lab and everywhere on campus, and to wash your hands multiple times each day. By doing these 3 things, by masking, by practicing social distancing, and by practicing regular personal hygiene, we are making a habit of living "we are." And we demonstrate to all that Penn Staters care and support one another. And in terms of supporting one another, please look out for your friends and other students as well. This is a tough time for all of us, and transitioning to college adds to the stresses that we encounter. If you sense that someone, maybe that someone is you, but if you sense that anyone is struggling, talk to them or alert your RA or your professor or the Director of Student Affairs, Joe Webb, or Ms. O, or me, or someone that you trust and feel that you can talk to. Alert them about someone who needs some help. We have counseling services available to all students, and we want to be committed to supporting one another. We are going to get through this challenging time together, and I think that we will do so proudly by reminding one another every day that we are. Well, again, welcome to Penn State Berks, class of 2024. We're living through a time right now that we will never forget. Let's work together to make the memories positive in the ways that we as Penn Staters support one another. We are. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Professor Dawn Pfeiffer Reitz, Assistant Teaching Professor of Communication Arts and Sciences, our keynote speaker for today's convocation. Professor Pfeiffer Reitz joined our faculty 6 years ago and brings extensive experience in higher education. She is particularly interested and committed to mentoring and engaging with students with a focus on leadership. She was honored in 2018 by the Pennsylvania Communication Association with the Harry Kelly Excellence in Teaching Award. Professor Pfeiffer Reitz.
Thank you, Chancellor Hillkirk. And greetings to my colleagues, the Penn State Berks students, family, and friends watching around the world, and a special welcome to you, the Penn State Berks class of 2024. I am honored and humbled to serve as the new Student Convocation keynote speaker today, and I am grateful to my friend and colleague, Dr. Tammy Meislowick, for inviting me to formally kick off your journey in higher education. Speaking of journey, we are on an unprecedented journey. It's no secret that most of 2020 has been uncharted territory, and that uncertainty awaits us as we begin this new academic year. My goal today is to hopefully inspire each of you and to provide a framework for success for your career here at Penn State Berks and beyond. I hope that by looking into the rearview mirror of my professional journey, we can see how our past and present can offer some suggestions for our future through the lens of planning, passion, perseverance, and mentorship. Now, I'd like you to recall a time and place in mid-March when you first realized that life was being altered. Recall the feelings of uncertainty that surrounded you. Were you frustrated at the lack of control you had about the situation? Were you sad at the loss of the end of your senior year? Were you missing out on your last High School Musical experience, senior prom, spring sports seasons? Perhaps you're angry that it became impossible to bid a proper farewell to beloved teachers and coaches. All of these disappointments are real and they should be acknowledged. But consider, as those early days turned into weeks, which have turned into months, how did you feel? Did you eventually notice the change in tide where things started to feel a bit normal or new normal? What were some of the ways that you faced these challenges and disappointments? Did you rely on your family to get you through? Maybe you reached out to find mentors to support you. Were you able to commiserate with friends that were in the same boat? Did you find solace in music or art or writing or exercise? How did you face these challenges? Students, I encourage each of you to reflect upon these questions immediately upon the conclusion of convocation this afternoon, and then put these reflections aside for future consideration. In preparing for today's keynote, I've spent the past few months trying to identify a time and place in my life that was filled with uncertainty and unrest, just as these past few months have been for you. Because of the extraordinary nature of this pandemic, I will never fully understand what it means and what it feels like to deal with the kinds of loss that you have. But I have, in times in my life, had to deal with uncertainty, and I've had to persevere through these trying times. Typically, on the first day of class each semester, I tell the story of how I came to be the instructor in the classroom on that day. My goal is to explain my journey to my students and model the way for them to understand that sometimes what we set out to do when we are 18 years old is not the pathway that we end up taking through life. I like to have my students understand that it is okay to have a plan B or 2 or 3 along the way. When I was 18, my original career goal was to be a broadcast journalist. I explained to my new students how that goal was quickly derailed by one political science course in my first semester, where I had an engaging and dynamic instructor who, with a skill for teaching something as dry as constitutional law, inspired me to change my goal and to strive to become an attorney. I then discussed my meticulously organized but ultimately unsuccessful plan to go to law school that I had laid out for the next 3 years of my undergraduate experience, which culminated in the submission of 5 law school applications. My talk then turns to the shock and disappointment that crept in on Valentine's Day of my senior year when I first received the first of 5 rejection letters. Yep, you heard that right. I spent 4 years prepping to go to law school, and just like that, I received these 5 rejection letters. Now, did I let that get me down? Not really. I maybe had a moment or two of disappointment and reflection, but I've always been a woman of action. So I got up and I started talking to mentors. These were the people on my campus that were the beacons of hope, the providers of guidance, the askers of important questions, and the challengers of spirit. And I vividly recall what came next. Each of my mentors asked me to reflect, but not to dwell on my situation. They offered me insight into who they saw I was and what they interpreted my strengths to be. And they asked me to consider, as best-selling author James Clear states, to consider what is your personal compounding advantage in your career? Well, after some good reflection, I realized that my compounding advantage was that I was good at working with college students. I realized that I was someone who could make the difference in the lives of students beginning their academic journey. I realized that I can inspire young people. You see, these mentors saw things in me that I didn't even see myself. And it's because of each of them that I'm standing here today as a faculty member at Penn State Berks. I did not let an obstacle derail my journey. I was resilient. I didn't allow pity or disappointment to muddy my perspective. I took action. And because of the relationships I established on my campus, I persevered. Moments of reflection on our past are the perfect lens to help us better understand our present and positively impact our future. But no, this present, it's not like anything that any one of us have ever imagined. But students, take stock of how you felt in March and then how you feel right now, and reflect upon those questions that I asked you earlier regarding how you dealt with these challenges, and put them in your pocket for future application. So here we are today. You may be watching this convocation from a residence hall on campus, in a classroom, or in your car out in Franco parking lot. You may be a Berks student taking your fall semester classes from another state or even another country. Like many of us, you likely spent the last 5 months experiencing life digitally, finished high school virtually, had a virtual graduation, participated in NSO through Zoom, and you even attended Welcome Week all online. These past 5 months have allowed you to get more comfortable. You are acclimating. Resilience is taking over and allowing you to adapt to your new situation and your new surroundings. You have persevered through the challenges of the end of your senior year and are now embarking on your journey in higher education. See, you have already demonstrated your ability to show grit and your tenacity to continue to push through what was 5 months of unparalleled experiences, and to show up at the dawn of your Penn State Berks education, whether it be physically on campus or through a virtual entrance point into your journey in higher education. Students, take note of where you are now. Close your eyes and take a mental picture of this moment in time on your journey. So now, recalling my journey, those 5 rejection letters, while they were disappointing, they served as the impetus for me to find my calling in life, and that is to work in higher education. I will always be thankful for those rejection letters, and through those visionary mentors, I was able to transform my plans from law school to graduate school really quickly and earn a degree in counseling for higher education. This was where I understood the value of the role of the Plan B and the role of grit, or the power of passion and perseverance in my life. This first Plan B is the moment where my passion for working with college students intersects with the gritty nature of perseverance that was instilled in me by my parents from a very young age. And because of this power of passion and perseverance, combined with kind, caring, honest, and visionary mentors, I served in various residence life and student affairs roles for about a decade, making an impact on the lives of countless students at King's College, Kutztown University, and Westchester University. But once I started having children, I realized I needed another Plan B. It quickly became obvious to me that I was unable to serve my young family or my residence life job with the levels of quality that I expected of myself. So when I went in to submit my resignation letter, the Vice President for Student Affairs, who had been my greatest mentor since my undergraduate days, he told me that he didn't want to lose me as an employee, and he offered me an opportunity to serve as a part-time grant writer for the Division of Student Affairs. Well, I was honored and flattered by his offer, but I said to him, "Dr. Paquetto, I have never written a grant before. How am I going to do this?" And he very pointedly and plainly said to me, "Dawn, you are an excellent researcher and writer. You are tenacious. You don't take no for an answer. You understand the Division of Student Affairs, and you always get the job done." So I said, okay, sign me up. And after 2 years and about $200,000 in grants, I really began to understand the value of the accumulation of transferable skills and the power of connection. Because of my grit, because of my mentor and his ability to see things in me that I didn't see myself, my grit, my ability to channel my passions and perseverance, I got the job and I got the job done. So class of 2024, never underestimate the value of all of the experiences you will begin to collect here at Penn State Berks. Find the silver lining in all of your experiences and take time to reflect upon the outcomes, positive and negative, and identify the lessons in each. You never know who is watching and who can make a difference. So let's talk about my third plan B. You knew it was coming, right? This is where I made the pivot to the classroom. For years, my passion was working with students in administrative and staff roles, but one day, as my grant writing role was about to expire, another mentor, Diane DeVestern, encouraged me to apply to teach the public speaking course that was required on my campus. What started out as an opportunity for me to establish a meaningful work-life balance turned into a chance to fall in love with a new way to pursue my passion. And at that moment, in January of 2008, I stepped into a public speaking classroom and I haven't looked back. I like to call myself an academic outlier because my path to the classroom was untraditional. Remember, there were 3 Plan Bs. But because of the mentor relationships I established and my grit, I was destined to be in this classroom. I have at times had to cast aside doubts in my head that because I came through this non-traditional way, that I don't measure up. But because I was gritty and I persevered, I have been successful. I've surrounded myself with like-minded people who love and support me and push me forward. I am one of those people who, through a blessing of mentors and a combination of hard work and resilience, that found that wonderful and often elusive combination of career and passion. Students, it's important to view my journey as an opportunity to underscore the value that just because what you think your life will look like today doesn't mean that it will look like that in 5, 10, 20, or 30 years from now. It's possible that experience and interests and passions will change, and relationships will develop that will take you by the wrist and steer you in a direction you didn't even know existed, just like my mentors, Matt and Diane, did for me way back when. So what do we do now? We look to see how the reflections of resilience I asked you to contemplate earlier are already a part of who you are, and we compound them for the future. So class of 2024, it's time to turn our sights on your future. My summons to you is to look at all the challenges that are 2020 and reframe them as opportunities. Reframe them as opportunities for growth and expansion. Reframe them as opportunities to find, use, and display your passion and perseverance. I challenge you to get to know the faculty, administrators, and staff here at Penn State Berks, and let us get to know you too. Because you never know when you are going to have to pivot to that Plan B. Students, don't be overcome by disappointment because the start of your college career is not what you expected it to look like. Instead, I challenge you to change your mindset and make this your finest hour. Thank you and good luck on your journey.
Thank you, Professor Pfeiffer Reitz, for your words of courage and resilience. Earlier, I mentioned we are, and